Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you today about something that's so important for our peace of mind and our success in life. It's about recognizing when people aren't being genuine with you. Sometimes we get so caught up in pleasing others, we overlook the signs that they might not have our best interest at heart. Today, I want to share with you 7 signs that people are being totally fake with you and how to protect your heart. There's a saying that goes, a true friend is someone who's there for you when they'd rather be anywhere else. When someone only reaches out to you when they need something, you begin to realize that the relationship is based on convenience, not on genuine care. You may feel used like a tool in their life that's only valuable when it serves a specific purpose. This kind of behavior can be subtle at first, but over time it becomes more apparent. Think about it for a moment. When was the last time this person checked in on you? Not because they needed something, but just to see how you were doing. If your relationship feels one-sided, it may be because the other person is only reaching out to get something for themselves. Maybe it's help with a project, a favor, or perhaps just emotional support when they're feeling down. But when the roles are reversed, you find yourself always giving and never receiving the same attention or care. When people are only present when it's convenient for them, it can cause you to question their true intentions. Are they genuinely interested in your life, or are they only interested in what they can extract from you? This can be a tough pill to swallow, especially if you've invested a lot of time and energy into the relationship. We naturally want to give others the benefit of the doubt, but the truth is healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding. Both parties should feel like they can lean on each other, not just when it's convenient, but through thick and thin. One of the most important things to recognize here is that people who only reach out when they need something often don't have the emotional maturity or the selflessness to invest in others without expecting anything in return. They may not understand the value of building a relationship for the sake of building a connection rather than for gaining something in the process. You might find yourself always offering your time, your energy, or your resources only to be met with silence when you're the one in need. This behavior can also leave you feeling drained. You start to question your worth, wondering, am I just someone they can use? It can be exhausting to constantly give and give without seeing any reciprocation. Over time, you might begin to feel like you're being taken for granted, and that's when the cracks in the relationship start to show. This sign isn't always easy to spot in the beginning, especially if the person is good at pretending they care. They might give you a call when they need a favor, and you may genuinely believe that they value your friendship. But if this pattern continues over time, you'll notice that the calls and texts you receive are only when they need something, and not just for a simple conversation or to check in on your life. It becomes a cycle, helping them when they're in a tight spot, but never receiving the same level of support when the roles are reversed. What makes this even more challenging is that these people often have a way of making you feel obligated to help them. They may use guilt, flattery, or manipulation to get what they want from you. You may feel like you can't say no because they've helped you in the past or because they seem so appreciative when you do something for them. But deep down, you know that the connection isn't balanced, and that's when the real damage starts to take place. You start to feel like you're just a means to an end, not someone whose feelings or needs are valued. A healthy relationship thrives on reciprocity, on both parties showing up for each other, not just when it's convenient, but when it's needed the most. It's the little things that count. A simple "how are you" can go a long way in showing someone that you care about their well-being. It's about building a connection that isn't transactional, but rather one that's based on mutual love, trust, and understanding. If you're always the one giving and never receiving, it may be time to step back and reassess the dynamic. People who are truly invested in you don't just show up when they need something. They show up because they want to. They want to be a part of your life, to support you in your highs and lows, and to see you grow and succeed. They don't just reach out when it benefits them. They reach out because they genuinely care about your journey, your dreams, and your challenges. And while it's important to be compassionate and understanding, it's equally important to seek its boundaries. If someone is only reaching out to you when they need something, it's okay to step back and reevaluate the relationship. Your time and energy are valuable, and they should be spent with people who respect and appreciate you for who you are, not just for what you can do for them. Ultimately, the quality of your relationships should be a reflection of the love and care you put into them. So if you find yourself constantly being the one who gives and never receiving anything in return, it's a sign that it might be time to reassess the people you're investing in. Healthy relationships are two-way streets, and both people should feel valued, supported, and cared for. Don't be afraid to step away from those who only show up when it's convenient for them. You deserve better than that. When someone's actions don't match their words, that's a powerful sign that something isn't right. Words are important. Of course, they express intentions, thoughts, and feelings. But the truth is, actions always speak louder than words. Anyone can say the right things, but it's their actions that reveal who they really are. When you see a disconnect between what someone says and what they do, it's a red flag that they may not be as genuine as they claim to be. Have you ever had someone tell you they care about you, but when you needed them, they were nowhere to be found? Or someone who says they'll be there for you, but always seems to have an excuse when you reach out for help? Words without follow through are empty. It's one thing to say, I'm always here for you, but it's another thing entirely to show up when the time comes. If their actions don't reflect the promises they make, it's a clear indication that they're not being truthful with you, or worse, they don't fully understand the weight of their own words. This discrepancy can be hurtful because it leaves you feeling like you're being deceived. You start to question, do they really care, or are they just saying what they think I want to hear? It can feel like you're being manipulated or used, especially if they're telling you one thing and then doing the opposite. For example, someone might tell you they support your dreams, but when it's time to take action or offer real encouragement, they're nowhere to be found. This kind of behavior creates confusion because it doesn't match up with the image they painted of themselves. The inconsistency between what they say and what they do leaves you feeling unsupported and unappreciated. People who are fake with you will often make grand promises telling you how much they care, how much they value your friendship, or how much they want to help you. But over time, you begin to notice that those promises rarely come to fruition. They might say, I'll always be there for you, but when you really need them, they've disappeared. They might tell you they're proud of your accomplishments, but never take the time to celebrate those wins with you or offer any support. They might claim to be your biggest cheerleader, but when it comes time to stand by you in difficult moments, they choose to stay on the sidelines. This gap between words and actions can be especially hurtful because it creates false hope. You begin to believe the things they say, and you rely on those words to fuel your trust in them. But when they fail to follow through, it shakes your confidence in the relationship. Trust is built on consistency, and when someone says one thing but does another, that trust begins to erode. It's easy to get caught up in their promises, hoping that eventually they'll prove themselves, but more often than not, the cycle repeats itself. You're left feeling disappointed, wondering why they didn't do what they said they would. Another reason this inconsistency can be so damaging is that it can make you question your own judgment. You might wonder if you're the one misinterpreting the situation. You might even start to blame yourself, thinking maybe you didn't understand their intentions correctly or that perhaps you're being too sensitive. But the reality is, you're not wrong to expect their actions to align with their words. It's completely reasonable to expect people to back up their promises with real effort. When they don't, it's a sign of a deeper issue, whether it's a lack of commitment, a lack of respect, or simply a lack of care. Sometimes people make promises they have no intention of keeping. They may say things they think you want to hear, or they might even say them without fully considering the implications of their words. In these cases, their actions are a reflection of their true priorities. It's not that they don't care, it's that they don't care enough to show it. They may genuinely want to be there for you in theory, but when it comes time to make the effort, it becomes clear that they don't value the relationship enough to make it a priority. It's also worth noting that some people are simply good at saying the right things at the right time, especially when they want something from you. But once they've gotten what they need, they disappear. They may use their words to manipulate you into doing something for them, making you believe that they're supportive or trustworthy. But once they've achieved their goal, their actions will tell you a different story. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that someone is genuine just because they say the right things. But the truth comes out in how they treat you over time. When someone's actions don't match their words, it's a clear sign that they're not being honest or authentic with you. It's easy to get caught up in the cycle of believing that things will change, but often they won't. The gap between words and actions will only widen, leaving you feeling more confused and hurt. In a healthy, genuine relationship, what someone says should be in harmony with what they do. Words and actions should align, and when they do, that's when you know you're dealing with someone who is truly committed to you in the relationship. When someone never celebrates your success, it can be one of the most telling signs that they may not be as supportive or genuine as you initially thought. Success, whether big or small, is something that should be shared and celebrated by those who care about us. But when the people in your life, friends, family, colleagues, are indifferent to your achievements, it can be both discouraging and disheartening. The lack of celebration doesn't always come in the form of overt jealousy or criticism, but it can often show up as simple silence or indifference. You might have worked tirelessly to reach a goal, invested time, energy, and emotion into a project or achieved something that you've been striving for, only to find that the people who should be the most excited for you seem completely unmoved. They don't offer a congratulations, don't take the time to acknowledge your hard work, and don't celebrate your victory in any way. In some cases, they might even downplay your success or act as though it's no big deal. When this happens, it's easy to feel alone in your moment of achievement. You may wonder if you've done something wrong or if your success isn't valued. But the truth is, this behavior isn't about you. It's a reflection of them and their inability to fully embrace or appreciate your growth. Celebrating each other's successes is a key element of any strong relationship. It shows that you genuinely care about the happiness and well-being of the other person. When someone truly supports you, they will take the time to celebrate with you. It could be something as simple as saying, "I'm so proud of you," or offering a congratulatory gesture like a kind note or a small celebration. These acts of acknowledgement can make all the difference, especially when you've worked so hard to achieve something. The lack of celebration can indicate a deeper issue. Sometimes it's rooted in insecurity, jealousy, or a feeling of competition. People who are insecure about themselves may find it difficult to celebrate the success of others because it highlights their own perceived shortcomings. Instead of feeling joy for your achievement, they may feel threatened or envious, and this jealousy can manifest as indifference or even subtle criticism. Rather than lifting you up, they pull away or remain silent, which leaves you feeling unsupported. Other times, people might not celebrate your success because they simply don't understand the value of what you've achieved. For instance, if your success is something they don't fully grasp, they might not know how to react. They may not understand the effort that went into your achievement, so they fail to acknowledge it in a meaningful way. This is not necessarily out of malice, but could stem from a lack of empathy or awareness. However, even in this case, the absence of celebration can still sting because it leaves you feeling that your hard work isn't being seen or appreciated. In some situations, the lack of celebration can be a sign of emotional neglect. If someone claims to care about you but never acknowledges your achievements or shows excitement for your milestones, it can feel like they are not emotionally invested in your life. When you share good news with them and their response is lukewarm or dismissive, it can leave you questioning whether they really care about you at all. Relationships are built on emotional connections, and celebrating each other's wins is an essential part of fostering that connection. When someone fails to do this, it raises concerns about the strength and sincerity of the relationship. The issue of never celebrating success can be especially painful when it comes from someone close to you, like a friend, partner, or family member. These are the people you expect to have your back, to be there when you triumph, and to help you feel seen and valued. But when they don't celebrate your success, it can create an emotional distance. It may make you feel like your efforts and achievements are somehow not worthy of recognition, which can affect your confidence and your self-worth. Over time, this lack of acknowledgement can erode your trust in the relationship and make you question whether the person genuinely wants the best for you. Additionally, it's not just about the big accomplishments. It's also the small victories, the little steps forward that matter. Sometimes we achieve things that might not seem huge to others, but to us, they are significant milestones. When the people in your life can't even celebrate these smaller wins, it speaks volumes about their ability to connect with your journey and be genuinely happy for you. Celebrating these smaller victories is just as important as celebrating the big ones because they contribute to the bigger picture of your growth and development. If you find that someone consistently fails to celebrate your successes, it may be time to reassess the relationship. It's important to surround yourself with people who uplift you, who cheer you on, and who are genuinely happy to see you succeed. These people not only celebrate your triumphs, but also encourage you to keep going even when things get tough. They understand that your success is not a threat to their own, but rather something to be shared and embraced. Success is not just about the outcome, it's about the journey. And along that journey, we need the people in our lives to acknowledge, appreciate, and celebrate the steps we take toward our goals. When others fail to do that, it can feel like they are missing out on the opportunity to connect with us on a deeper level. So always remember that you deserve people who celebrate you, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. Your success is a reflection of your hard work, and you deserve to have people who recognize and honor that. When someone avoids being around you during times of need, it reveals a lack of genuine care and emotional investment in your relationship. In life, we all face challenges times when we're struggling, feeling down, or going through difficult situations. During these times, the people who truly care about us are the ones who show up, not just when things are easy and fun, but especially when things are hard. They are the ones who offer a listening ear, a shoulder to cry on, or a helping hand when we need it the most. But if you find that someone consistently avoids being there for you when you're in need, it's a clear sign that they might not have the depth of care or loyalty that you deserve. At some point, we all go through moments of vulnerability. Life doesn't always go according to plan, and there are times when we need the support of the people we trust. However, it can be painful to realize that those who claim to care about us aren't there when we need them the most. If they consistently seem to vanish when things get tough for you, or if they avoid offering any help or emotional support, it suggests that their presence in your life is conditional. They may only want to be around when everything is going well, when the sun is shining, and when there are no problems. But when life takes a turn and you're in need, they become distant or disappear altogether. There's an undeniable feeling of loneliness that comes with realizing that someone who claims to care isn't showing up for you when you need them. It's not about expecting perfection or demanding that someone drop everything to be there for you at all times, but it is about recognizing that relationships require effort, especially when things are hard. When someone avoids being there for you, it can feel like you're being left out in the cold, especially when you've been there for them in the past. You may have helped them in their own times of need, offered support, or simply been a source of comfort when they were going through struggles. But when the roles are reversed, then they're nowhere to be found. This avoidance can be especially hurtful when it comes from people you consider close friends or family. These are the people you expect to be there to share your burdens and support you in tough times. You trust them to offer comfort, even if they don't have all the answers, because their presence alone can be a source of strength. But when they fail to show up, it can make you feel like you're carrying the weight of the world alone. You might feel as though your pain is being minimized or worse, ignored. When people avoid being there for you in difficult times, it can also make you question the authenticity of the relationship. You start to wonder if they really care about you as much as they say they do. If someone is willing to be around only when things are going smoothly, it indicates that they are not emotionally invested in you in the way you deserve. True relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or familial, are built on trust, mutual support, and the willingness to be there for each other, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. If someone isn't showing up during your hardest moments, it's a sign that they may not value the relationship enough to put in that kind of effort. It's also important to understand that avoidance isn't always about malicious intent. Sometimes people avoid tough situations because they don't know how to handle them. They might feel uncomfortable or unsure of what to say or do when you're going through a difficult time. However, while it's true that not everyone knows how to navigate someone else's pain, it's still important to make an effort. A simple act of reaching out, offering words of comfort, or just being there without needing to fix the situation can mean more than anything else. The absence of this effort speaks volumes about the person's emotional availability and willingness to be there for you in a meaningful way. When someone avoids you during times of need, it can also leave you feeling like you're not worthy of their attention or time. It can create a sense of rejection, as though your struggles don't matter to them. This can lead to feelings of self-doubt and insecurity, questioning why you weren't worth the effort or why they didn't care enough to show up for you. Over time, this can erode your confidence in the relationship and make you wonder if it's truly worth maintaining. It's hard to feel valued in a relationship when you're not receiving the support you need when things are difficult. The bottom line is that relationships are meant to be a source of support, especially in the difficult moments. If someone avoids being around you when you need them, it's a clear indication that they might not value the relationship in the way that you do. It's important to surround yourself with people who will be there for you through thick and thin, who will offer their support not just when things are easy, but especially when things are tough. You deserve to have people in your life who are emotionally available, who care enough to show up when it matters most. When people constantly gossip or talk behind your back, it's a clear sign that they are not being authentic with you. Gossip is a form of betrayal, a subtle way of undermining trust and damaging relationships. If you've ever found out that someone has been speaking negatively about you or sharing personal details without your consent, it can feel like a stab in the back. The hurt isn't just from the words they say, but from the realization that someone you trusted wasn't being honest or respectful enough to communicate directly with you. Gossip is a destructive force, and it often stems from insecurity or a desire to manipulate the situation. People who gossip behind your back often do so because they feel threatened by you in some way. Rather than addressing their issues with you directly, they choose to talk about you to others, which can create unnecessary drama and hurt. They may spread rumors or misrepresent situations, all of which distort the truth and create a narrative that doesn't reflect who you are or what you stand for. This is particularly damaging because it can leave you questioning your own reputation and whether the people around you are really your friends or allies. When someone gossips about you, they are showing a lack of respect for your boundaries and personal life. Everyone has moments of vulnerability, times when we share our struggles or personal details with others in trust. A friend or confidant should be someone who can hold that information with care and respect. But when that information is shared with others without your permission, it reveals that the person doesn't value your privacy or your trust. They may present themselves as someone you can rely on, but their actions speak louder than their words. Gossip is a betrayal of that trust, and it can make you feel exposed, like you've been put on display for the entertainment or judgment of others. This type of behavior can also make you feel paranoid and isolated. Once you learn that someone has been gossiping about you, it becomes hard to know who you can truly trust. If they are willing to talk behind your back, who's to say they're not doing the same thing with others? This creates a toxic environment of uncertainty and suspicion where you're left wondering if everything you say or do will be twisted and shared with others. It can be emotionally draining to feel like you're constantly under scrutiny or that your words and actions are being distorted in a way that damages your relationships. Gossip also undermines communication. Healthy relationships are built on honest conversations and openness, where both parties feel safe enough to express their thoughts and feelings. But when someone resorts to talking behind your back, it closes off the possibility of direct, meaningful communication. Instead of addressing concerns or issues with you face to face, they take the easy route and talk to others. This prevents growth and understanding from taking place, and it leads to unnecessary misunderstandings and hurt feelings. You may find yourself in situations where people act strangely around you, or you hear things that don't make sense only to realize later that your so-called friend has been spreading half-truths or outright lies about you. The damage done in this way isn't easily repaired, and it can cause deep rifts in even the strongest of relationships. The emotional gossip can be significant. It can shake your self-confidence and make you question your own worth. When people talk about you behind your back, it can feel like a form of rejection. It's as if they are judging you without giving you the opportunity to explain yourself or set the record straight. The more you hear about how others are perceiving you through gossip, the more you begin to feel misunderstood. This can lead to self-doubt, frustration, and even anger. Instead of focusing on your goals and your growth, you're left dealing with the fallout of someone else's actions. Another painful aspect of gossip is that it often comes from people who you expect to have your back, the ones you call friends, family members, or colleagues. When these individuals are the ones spreading rumors or talking behind your back, it feels like an additional layer of betrayal. You might feel like they've been pretending to be your friend, but in reality, they've been speaking ill of you when you weren't around. This creates a sense of emotional distance and disillusionment. You start to question the motives of those around you, wondering if they are really interested in your well-being or if they're simply using your life as fodder for conversation. In some cases, gossip can even be a form of manipulation. People might gossip about you in order to control how others perceive you. They may twist facts to turn others against you, or they might spread negativity to maintain a certain narrative about you that suits their own needs or insecurities. This can be particularly hurtful if you find out that someone is actively trying to harm your reputation, whether to deflect attention from their own shortcomings or to gain favor with others. This type of manipulation can create division and break down relationships, as it's hard to trust someone who is actively working against you behind the scenes. In any case, when you realize that someone has been gossiping about you, it can be a wake-up call. It's a sign that this person might not have the integrity or loyalty you thought they did. While it's painful, it's also an opportunity to reassess who you allow into your life and who you trust with your personal information. People who are genuine and care about you won't gossip about you. Instead, they'll be open with you, and they'll confront issues directly rather than letting the problem fester behind your back. Genuine relationships are built on respect, honesty, and mutual care. And when gossip comes into play, it undermines all of those foundations. It's important to protect your peace by distancing yourself from people who undermine your trust and who engage in this toxic behavior. When someone only reaches out to you when they need something, it's one of the clearest signs that the relationship may not be as genuine as it appears. Genuine relationships are based on mutual respect, care, and a willingness to show up for each other, not just when it's convenient or when something is needed. When someone contacts you only when they require help or a favor, it shows that their interest in you is transactional rather than rooted in a real, meaningful connection. This type of behavior can be hurtful and lead to feelings of being taken advantage of rather truly valued. The first thing you may notice is that the other person seems to disappear when things are going well for you or when you don't have anything to offer. They may not check in on you, don't show any interest in your well-being, or fail to engage with you in any meaningful way unless they need something from you. But when they do need help, whether it's assistance with a project, emotional support during a tough time, or help solving a problem, suddenly they reappear in your life. The contrast between how they act when they want something versus how they act when they don't is stark. It leaves you feeling like you're nothing more than a resource to them, rather than someone they genuinely care about. This kind of relationship can feel draining because it takes away from your emotional energy without offering anything in return. You might find yourself giving and giving only to receive very little, if anything, back. They may ask for favors, whether big or small, without considering your time, your needs, or your own emotional bandwidth. In turn, you may feel resentful or frustrated. Why is it that you're always expected to help, but when you need something, they're nowhere to be found? It's a one-sided dynamic, and it can quickly erode your trust and willingness to continue investing in the relationship. One of the toughest aspects of this situation is the internal conflict it can create. You want to be there for others, you want to help when people ask for it, and you don't want to be seen as someone who isn't willing to offer support. But when the same person repeatedly reaches out for help without ever offering anything in return, it can make you question whether your efforts are truly appreciated. Over time, this can leave you feeling emotionally unfulfilled, like you're constantly giving without receiving any sense of reciprocation. And more importantly, it can leave you wondering whether the other person's affection or friendship is based on genuine care or just on what they can get from you. This kind of behavior can also be difficult to recognize at first. In the beginning, it might seem innocent. Maybe they seem genuinely in need of help and you're happy to provide it. But over time, you may begin to notice a pattern. They reach out when things are tough for them, but never seem to engage in your life or offer any support when you need it. It's easy to overlook these signs, especially if you're someone who values helping others, has a natural inclination to offer support. But as the pattern becomes clearer, you might begin to feel like a backup plan, someone they only think of when they're in a pinch. This realization can hurt, especially when you have poured time, energy, and care into the relationship without receiving anything in return. Moreover, people who only reach out when they need something may also begin to take advantage of your kindness. They might ask for bigger and bigger favors over time, pushing your boundaries without any consideration for how their actions might affect you. You may feel obligated to help, especially if they guilt trip you into it. Or you may fear that if you say no, you'll risk damaging the relationship. This creates a cycle where you feel increasingly drained, yet the other person never seems to truly recognize the toll their behavior takes on you. Their sense of entitlement to your time and resources grows, and you find yourself stuck in a loop of one-sided efforts. What's even more painful is when you realize that their behavior is not just inconsiderate, it's also manipulative. People who only reach out when they need something may not have any true interest in your well-being. Instead, they see you as a means to an end. They may not reach out to celebrate your successes or offer emotional support when you're struggling. Rather, their contact is driven by self-interest, and you are just a vehicle for their own goals, whether it's getting help with a task, receiving emotional validation, or using your resources in some way. This can feel deeply dehumanizing, as if you are valued only for what you can provide rather than for who you are. Over time, this pattern of behavior can have a serious impact on your self-esteem and your sense of worth. It can make you feel unimportant, as if your time, energy, and emotions don't matter unless they are being used to serve someone else's needs. It can make you question whether the relationship is truly mutual or if you're simply being taken for granted. The more this happens, the more your boundaries may start to crumble. You may begin to feel as though you have no right to say no, or that you're somehow being selfish if you don't comply with their demands. The best way to deal with someone who only reaches out when they need something is to recognize the imbalance in the relationship and take steps to protect your own well-being. It's important to establish boundaries and be honest about what you are willing and able to give. You don't need to be afraid of saying no when someone asks for help, especially when they haven't been there for you in return. True friendships and relationships are built on mutual respect and support, not on one person constantly draining the other. You deserve relationships that are reciprocal, where both parties show up for each other, not just when it's convenient, but all the time. Ultimately, recognizing when someone is only reaching out for their benefit and not yours is a key part of protecting yourself and maintaining healthy, balanced relationships. You have the right to invest your time and energy in people who truly care about you, not just for what they can get from you, but for who you are as a person. It's time to let go of one-sided relationships and surround yourself with those who will show up for you, just as you show up for them. When you spot these signs, remember that you deserve people who support, uplift, and encourage you. Don't settle for anything less. Keep your heart open to real relationships and let go of those who drain your energy. God has the right people lined up for you, so trust that He will bring genuine friendships into your life. Stay strong, stay true to yourself, and keep moving forward.